entry. One of the things us real estate investors often think about constantly all the time is our tenants. All the repairs we got to do to properties over time, the late night phone calls, the things that we need to fix. So today's video, we're going to talk to Alex, who has taken himself out of dealing with these tenant issues and actually focused on another asset class that I am extremely intrigued about. And we wanted to talk to you this evening to see if it's something that will pique your interest. So tonight, for the next few moments in time, you will learn all about buying self-storage units with my man, Alex Pardo. What's up, brother?
Chris, I'm pumped to be here, brother. Always love talking shop, man. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to be here with you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for coming with us. Real quick, where are you? And tell us about the weather where you at.
I'm in Miami, so it is hot and humid. And I've always said, man, most people would probably disagree with me. I'll take hot and humid over cold and snowy any day, but that's just me, born and raised in Miami. So.
Oh, okay, cool. I love it too. I love the heat. The hotter, the better for me.
There you go. There you go. We're going to get hot tonight, man. We're going to talk about self-storage. I'm really excited to kind of share my journey, man, because, you know, grinding single family wholesale deals, fix and flip, building a rental portfolio for many, many years. About 5 years ago, man, I opened my eyes to what I believe is the best asset class in the real estate space. So yeah, man, just excited to kind of share my journey and how people can just make a few tweaks to what they're already doing, Chris, to be able to add storage units to their portfolio.
That is so cool. We're glad you chose to join us this evening. And you know we're going to have some super special goodies for you. All my 4th of July homies, thank you. Happy holidays to you coming up. Enjoy a burnt hot dog and think about us as you're out there on the charcoal, on the grill. We got something for you, so make sure you stay tuned. Alex Pardo.
Yes, sir.
Are you doing screen share here?
I am going to be. Let me just make sure. Let me fire this thing up and make sure I can do a screen share here. So, okay.
You're going to hit the whole screen. You got a couple screens. Just select that screen and roll with it.
I'm going to hit the whole. Okay, just do me a favor. Let me know that you can see my screen right now.
I see it. Yep, good to go.
Okay, perfect. So fantastic, guys. So look, I'm gonna pack this with value. I'm gonna talk about how you can get started with self-storage without having to deal with tenants and toilets and trading time for money. And I'm gonna share with you real life case studies, not only deals that I've done when it comes to buying self-storage facilities without using any of my money, but other people that I'm working with as well. So we're gonna make this. I love it. I love it.
I love that.
Fantastic.
Acquisitions.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to dive right into it, Chris. And by the way, man, feel free to jump in with any questions you might have. But, you know, here's what.
Let me know. You want me to bring the screen up? You ready for the screen now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah. I didn't even bring it in. I didn't know you was ready. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, let me backtrack. All right. You guys can see my screen. So I want to dive right in, guys. And I want to show you how you can buy self-storage facilities without a lot of the traditional headaches that come with real estate. Chris, I would imagine many people that are probably joining us here are in the single family space. Probably many have bought rental properties, and you've probably dealt with that picture on the left. I know it's nasty. I know it's disgusting. Maybe you have a property management company that handles that kind of stuff for you. But as I got into real estate back in 2005, and I'm going to share my story here in a second, I got in because I wanted financial freedom. I wanted time freedom. And for 14 years, I felt like I was playing the wrong game, man. I was wholesaling. I was buying and holding.
Talk about that, Alex. Talk about that wholesaling game, dog.
Yeah, man, dude. So I got into real estate because, again, I wanted all the benefits real estate gives us. And then I ended up doing my first deal, made $44,000 on a wholesale. And I think I just got addicted to the income that comes from wholesaling. The problem is it's a big hamster wheel, right? It's constantly chasing deals, going one after the other. And really what I want to kind of talk to you about today is how to find storage facilities, how to fund them, and then how to profit from them without having to use your money. And I also want to suspend the belief that some people watching us, Chris, might have, where maybe they think you need to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to buy these big assets. Maybe they feel like they need a certain amount of experience, and that's just not the case. And I think by the end of this talk here, you're going to open your eyes to see how no matter what position you're in today, if you just make some tweaks, you can go fund these opportunities. So I'm not going to keep this. This isn't about me. It's more about storage and just the opportunity and how you guys can get involved. But just so you have a little bit of background and context, my beautiful family that God's blessed me with, my wife and I are actually 11 years into our marriage. Our two beautiful. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Those are our two girls, Ariana and Alessia. And man, I love what this business can do. Not so much because real estate is something that I'm so passionate about. I enjoy it. I like it. I'm good at it. But it's really about, it gives us the options to do the things with our loved ones that we most enjoy and the ability to impact people. So those are just a few fun facts about me. I really love to travel and just kind of share time with family. And that's what this business has allowed me to do. And Chris, I know the same for you, man. So a little bit about my journey. Got started back in 2005, like I mentioned, wholesaling.
Can you zoom in a little bit on that, Alex? It's kind of small.
Absolutely, man. Here, let me zoom in. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So got started 2005. You know, I got started short sales, creative finance deals, but really my bread and butter was wholesaling real estate. Because of the success I had, you know, the first handful of years in 2011, I started coaching others in real estate. 2016, I launched the Flip Empire show, which I'm still hosting today, just 9 years into that journey. Wow. But something happened around 2019 is, you know, at that point, I was 14 years into the journey, Chris, and I just started to feel, you ever felt burnout? You know, you ever felt like, again, like you're on a big hamster wheel and I just I got tired, brother, of waking up from zero every single month. And grinding wholesale deals. And even though I had a rental portfolio at that point, what I found in my experience is that the cash flow I was generating from my rental portfolio, even though it wasn't a huge portfolio, I did the math and I was like, I'm going to need to own a lot of single family rentals in order to generate the kind of cash flow that I was after. And so I realized that, man, buying and building a rental portfolio, I don't think this is going to be the path for me to generate wealth. So in 2020, I happened at that time to be coaching somebody that owned a storage facility. And Chris, my eyes, man, it's like one of those cartoons back in the 80s and 90s. Like my eyes just popped open, man. And this gentleman had everything I was looking for when I first got into real estate. He had cash flow. He was building wealth. He had all the tax benefits that we've come to love from real estate. But most importantly, he had time freedom. He wasn't chasing deals. And so I started to just research the asset class. And man, I committed at the end of 2020, I'm gonna sell off parts of my wholesaling business, which I did. And I just committed myself to self-storage and since have, you know, bought, sold, managed, operated, wholesaled several storage facilities. And now I'm fortunate to be in the position where I get to help others learn some of the things I've learned to add storage to their portfolio.
Alex, you know, it's funny you say that. I remember Ron LeGrand many years ago. He told me, he was like, Chris, it's very rare you're going to meet an extremely rich landlord. It's extremely rare. Now, I didn't understand what he was saying because I'm like, man, sure, you get your 20 rental properties, $1,500 a month. Now I'm on this side of it and I'm like, you know, very rare to see a landlord making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a month. You know, it is just extreme. I don't know many of them. Now they are out there.
Yeah.
But is that the epiphany that you came to, Alex?
Chris, not just that. You and I are in a high-level mastermind. That's how we met. And I have spoken to several. And when I say several, I'm talking more than a handful in that mastermind alone that have rental portfolios north of 50 properties. And they're all in the process. Literally, every single one is in the process of scaling that portfolio down. Because even though they have cash flow and they've built wealth, it's a big job, right? You have all these different tax bills and all these different roofs and maintenance issues and tenants. And what I have found is, look, that is a very viable way to build wealth and generate cash flow. I have just found with self-storage, you're not having to deal with all the headaches that come with single family rentals. And I don't want anybody thinking that like, oh, Alex, you can do this because, you know, whatever, insert whatever limiting belief people have, right? You got started in
Mm-hmm.
2005, or you live in Miami. I don't know. Kate is somebody that 7 months ago, if you would have had a conversation with her, zero experience with real estate or self-storage. May 1st, she closed on her first storage facility, did not put one penny of her own money into the deal, right? So here's one of the biggest things I want everybody watching us to walk away from this. All the skill sets that you have acquired as a single family investor, I don't care if you're a buy and hold investor, wholesaler, fix and flip, if you are in the residential game, every single one of those skill sets that you've learned and acquired translates over into storage. Whether it's marketing, lead generation, acquisitions, negotiations, deal structure, all of that I learned as a wholesaler, I've transferred over into storage, right? So it's really just about pointing your marketing cannon to go find these opportunities, and everything else, aside from how you analyze the deal, is pretty much the same. So with that being said, I want to actually now kind of get into the heart of this. So I've talked about me feeling burnt out. I've talked about like that feast or famine, feeling like I'm on a big hamster wheel. I found storage. It's provided me freedom. And I'm going to share with you real results from just regular everyday people that are out there. And I'm going to go ahead and expand this, Chris, so people can see this.
It's something I feel like something's going on with the view. It was wide and then it kind of shrunk in right when you started. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I think some screen, I'll play with it and I'll make sure, because I'm looking at the screen here so I can see what you can see. But
okay.
I'll share with you guys real actual case studies. Okay. So let me actually shrink this one so you guys can see. So here's the problem, right? It's the income roller coaster is what I find a lot of residential investors, that's the pain and frustration they deal with, right? Maybe you're watching this and you can relate to the fact that you don't know exactly how much money you're going to make next month or in 3 months. And cash flow is very inconsistent. You struggle to scale the business or the portfolio. The industry obviously is constantly changing, especially if you're in the wholesale game. And with all those headaches, you have increased competition. Automation can be very challenging. And at the end of the day, you might be making money, but you're still trading time for money, right? So now that we've kind of identified the problem, let's talk about the solution. Self-storage, people talk about passive income. And I'm somebody, Chris, that I don't really like to use the word passive income.
Yeah,
so let me define passive income, because to me, passive income is not do nothing and just have mailbox money coming every single month, right? I like to think of storage as semi-passive. And to give you an illustration of what I mean by that, back in October of this year, prior to me selling 80,000 square feet of storage in my portfolio, I own just under 900 units. Chris, I maybe spent an hour and a half to 2 hours a week managing that portfolio of, I think it was 838 units to be exact.
Oh, wow.
Right? Now,
oh, wow.
I love the sound effects, by the way. Brother, and that's not, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Now, I want to be crystal clear. I'm not saying I was spending an hour to 2 hours a week to find those deals. No, like anything else, I was out there kind of following the process that I share within our community. But once I found the right assets and stabilized them, to manage and operate a self-storage business doesn't require a lot of time. And that is one of the main reasons, brother, that I believe that this is the best or one of the best asset classes when it comes to being able to scale a portfolio without having to have employees, without having to have a lot of overhead, which is what gives us time freedom because of the ability to automate these storage facilities the way that we can automate them today. So,
hey, Alex, real quick, let me reintroduce you for people that are just joining us. We got 25 people. Round up, please let me know who you are, where you're at. Put your name in the chat. You guys sleeping on me today. I mean, I know it's warm out there, but y'all got to wake up here. Alex and I are in a super high level mastermind, and we get an opportunity to hang out with people that are just crushing it in business. So Alex decided to share this stuff with y'all, and he's in Miami. So put your name in the chat. Please let me know where you're chiming in from. And we'll get your questions too. As we get closer to the end, we'll get Q&A too. Alex, sorry about that, man. I want to make sure I reintroduce you.
No problem at all. By the way, I'm glad you mentioned that. I would love to take answer some questions live. So any questions you have, by all means, fire away. Drop them in the chat, and we'll make sure to answer them. But look, here's a portion of my portfolio. The 80,000 square feet that I just mentioned, Chris, those are the 2 facilities on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And I'm going to share with you what I bought them for, how I bought the deals, how I structured them without using any of my money, what I sold them for, so you can kind of see what some of the potential is. And then Amelia Personal Storage is another case study. Super cool, interesting deal that I got on 90% seller financing. And wow. It's right next to the beach in beautiful Amelia Island, Florida, just north of Jacksonville. So guys, these deals are out there. One of the beautiful things about storage, Chris, is that, you know how in the residential game, you have motivated sellers. They have circumstantial distress, physical distress, property distress. In storage, the majority of these mom and pop operators are selling for one main reason. They're getting ready to retire. They're done running and operating the business, and these are business owners. So the conversations I find with storage owners are just a lot easier. But Sam Zell, right? Philanthropist. I think he's a billionaire. He was quoted as saying self-storage is the only real estate asset class that performs well in good times and in bad times. So, and you can fact check me. Jump on ChatGPT, Google, do your research. Look at what storage did during the 2008, 2009, right? So during good times and bad times, it's a very recession-resistant asset class, right? And I think what's really interesting, Chris, is that you think about Americans, right? Those of us that live in the US, we tend to consume a lot of goods and services. And when people consume, they just accumulate stuff. It's not like in Europe, right, where they have like a minimalist lifestyle. Americans, man, in general, when the economy's booming, we're buying and consuming, and we don't want to get rid of our stuff. But yet, when the economy is kind of going through a downturn, people tend to downsize. They don't want to get rid of their stuff, so they go rent storage. And the cool thing about storage, man, is that they're not paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month like they are in rent. They're paying $50 to $350 a month, and it's a nuisance expense. For many people, that's not going to break them, and so they keep paying month after month after month, and it tends to be just a. Are you a storage customer?
I just stopped last month. I had a hot tub in storage, and I'm like, I had to get it. I finally got it out. I'm like, what am I? I built the house with a garage, so I didn't have to have a storage, right? So, but this hot tub, I'm like,
yep,
I get it, dog. I get it, man.
Chris, the average length of stay, the customers aggregate on our whole portfolio, the average length of stay is about 2.5 years.
Yeah,
that's 2.5 years. So look, I could go on for literally an hour or more on why self-storage. These are my six of the top reasons why I love it. Recession resistant, low default rate. Why do I say low default rate? It's not that common that you see a storage facility go up for auction or is being foreclosed on. Well, because the operating expense ratio, Chris, and for everybody listening in storage, is about 30 to 35%, which means the margin, the NOI, is a lot higher. If you compare the operating expense ratio of storage to like multifamily, which is like 45, 50, sometimes 55%, the margins are greater in storage. We have very simple, straightforward management. I live in Miami. Every single facility that I have bought, owned, managed, operated has been hundreds, if not thousands of miles away. So we have a 3-pronged management system that allows me to, I literally have seen each of my facilities twice in my life. We talk about the consistent cash flow. It's a business there. Whenever I look at a business, Chris, I look at 3 things. I look at high margin, low overhead, and low headache factor. Right? That's one of the things with storage. There's not a whole lot of emergencies in storage. I mean, think about it. We rent space. So when tenants move out, we're not dealing with repairs, it's just a very simple business to manage and operate. And what I love about storage is something called forced appreciation. You know how in the residential space, Chris, we look at comparable sales when we look at houses? Well, in storage, we don't look at comparable sales. The value of the asset is determined by the income that asset produces. And so when we add multiple profit centers like tenant protection insurance, admin
Which was
fees.
mandatory for my last one I did. They
Ex-
made
ex-
me get it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. And by the way, we're talking, $14 a month. We get
Yeah.
we get 70% of that revenue, but every single customer that is in there has to get that. The cool thing about storage is that with every dollar that you generate and you apply a cap rate, it has an exponential effect on the value of the asset. Right.
Wow.
So like if we generate an extra $10,000 a month in
Mhm.
revenue and you apply a simple cap rate, you're talking about 6 figures of value added to the facility and to the business.
Got it.
So we get to do something called forced depreciation, which I think is pretty awesome. We don't have to deal with this, right? We don't have to deal with this in storage. There's something called lien laws. So we don't have to go through a long drawn out 6-month eviction process, spending thousands of dollars in storage. When somebody doesn't pay for their unit, they get overlocked, which means they can't access their unit. Their gate code automatically stops working. And then once we follow a certain process, generally speaking, within 60 days, we're able to take pictures of their unit and put it online on storageauctions.com and auction off their contents. We make a little bit of money. And then our boots on the ground sweeps the unit, puts it right back online to rent. So how does that sound compared to having to go through like evictions, especially if you're in a state like Illinois that's not landlord friendly? I mean, there's some states out there that these things can drag on for years.
Yeah, I see my friends in New York too. They get killed, man. They get destroyed.
Rough, dude, it's rough. It's rough. So we don't have to deal with evictions. When tenants leave, we don't have to like turn over the unit, spend thousands of dollars, getting it rent ready. Right. It's a very sticky product. I love this illustration, this image of this cute little girl, because Chris just alluded to it. When people move into a storage unit, think of the pain of disconnect. Here's what I mean by that. If you moved your stuff into a 10 by 20 unit or a 10 by 30, and all of a sudden, I told you, hey, Chris, I'll buy all your stuff. You don't need it anymore. The only thing is I need you to clean out the unit. Well, now you got to get a U-Haul truck, and you got to bother friends and family. You got to take an entire Saturday or Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Like it's a process to get your stuff out of a storage unit.
Pay somebody. I'm going to pay somebody to do it.
Pay somebody, because most people don't. And it's such a sticky product. They end up staying for years. It's funny because when you calculate the amount of money people pay us in rent, I don't know what they're storing in their stuff. That's private. That's none of my business. My guess is, for 95% of it, it can't be more than what they're paying us every single month combined. I mean, it's crazy. So
the rent is more than what you got in the box.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So look, here's the good news. Now that you hopefully see why storage, I want you to suspend the belief and borrow what I know to be true, that you can do this even if you don't have money. You can do this even if you have bad credit. It's very newbie friendly, so you don't have to have experience. And this is a business that can be done part-time. It's not like you need to do what I did 5 years ago and completely transition from one business to the other. You can keep the focus on what you're currently doing. And with part-time hours, if you can learn this simple process, you can now add storage to your portfolio.
Sweet.
So, all right, let's do some case study stuff now. This was the very first storage facility that I bought, American Mini Storage in Jackson, Mississippi. And I bought this facility for just under $1.6 million. Now, I got 85% financing from the Small Business Administration, SBA. So a lot of people, Chris, don't know that storage is a business with the benefits of real estate. Cash flow, depreciation, appreciation, like all the tax benefits, the reasons we love real estate. Storage is an actual business that the SBA will give loans for. In fact, banks and SBA, they have a strong appetite for the self-storage asset class because of all the reasons I mentioned. Well, I didn't have $1.592 million, and I didn't have the $350,000 that I needed to get into the deal. So I got 85% SBA financing. I brought in an equity partner. What does that mean? I brought in somebody that had lazy money. The money was sitting in their account. It wasn't doing anything. And I gave him a piece of the deal in order to give me what they call the equity injection that I needed, which was about 350 grand.
That's
He got
smart, brother.
he got a piece of the deal. Now I found the deal and I managed and operated the deal. So that was like my sweat equity portion. But if you can look this up in the public records, I think it was September 3rd or September 4th of last year, 2024, we sold this asset for 2.495. So we ran it for just under 3 years. Every single month it cash flowed. I think we were cash flowing on this one $1,700 a month. So it wasn't a lot in cash flow. But if you do the math there, we did pretty well on a facility that I was running and operating this part-time. Like literally between the 3 facilities I had at that time, an hour and a half, 2 hours a week, I think I was spending on this portfolio. And I did it with, again, the key that I want people to lean on is that this can be done if you don't have money to put into the deals. It's just a matter of understanding how to structure it. And the reason I was able to do this was because of relationships. If people ask me all the time, Chris, like, hey man, how do you find your deals? The truth is everything I did in single family, from direct mail to cold calling to text message marketing, all that stuff I've done in storage. But really the common denominator with every single storage deal I've done has been relationships.
Okay.
Right. So to me, brother, the most valuable capital you can raise is not private capital. It's relationship capital.
Sweet.
So yeah, for your audience. Yeah, go ahead.
Round, I just want to make sure we got some questions here. We'll get you guys. We're going to get the questions. Y'all get them in, and then Alex will answer all the questions so we can, for the recording people that are watching. Keep going, Alex.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Awesome, no problem. Couple more case studies here. Second deal in same Jackson, Mississippi, American Premier Storage. I bought this one for $1.2 million, funded 100% from private money, and this came from a broker relationship. So the same broker that sold me this deal called me about a year later and said, hey, Alex, how would you like to own another 38,000 square feet of storage just 3 miles away? And I ended up buying this facility. 1.2 was a steal. So this is a 38,000 square foot facility that I bought for 1.2 and 18 months later sold it for 1.99. 100% of it was funded by private money. So my private lenders got their 12% interest. They did very well. I made a really, really nice profit. And all of this came from relationships again. Relationship with the broker, relationship with private lenders. So for everybody watching here, plant seeds with people. Make sure that people know you as somebody that you always follow through on your word. And when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And that you always keep lines of communication open. I know, Chris, you kind of subscribe to the same line of thinking. And I've seen all the joint venture deals you've done throughout the years and how you built your community and your YouTube channel. Man, a lot of that is driven by relationships. Would you agree?
That's right. I think it's weird, man. I have a motto. Greg Penio taught me. Real estate is a people business. Every house I've ever bought came from a person. Every loan, every inspector, every approval, every home and every appraiser. It's all people. Is this the same thing with self-storage?
1,000%. It's a people business, right? If you took away everything I had, right, but you just left me with my network, the people that I built relationships with, brother, like I'd be golden. I literally would be golden. But now on the reverse, if you took away my network and you left me with everything else, I would rather keep my network.
No doubt. I think my community, we're still trying to comprehend that piece of it, because a lot of people, including me, I just figured if I just had enough income, I would be good, right? I thought I could just build that up, and now I've learned that's so not true. You got to have way more than just the money coming in, man.
That's it. 100% right. No, I echo your sentiments. This is a deal that I got from a direct mail campaign. So we'll talk a little bit more about this later and some of the things that we're going to be giving people. But a simple direct mail letter campaign. One of my favorite ways to find storage deals, especially because these mom and pop storage owners love direct mail. They actually open it. I sent the piece of letter out, and I got a gentleman that he still lives in Ohio. And he said, hey, Alex, are you familiar with Amelia Island? And I said, Amelia Island, people say that's like the Hilton Head of Florida. He said, that's exactly right. It's a vacation destination. He says, well, my sister and I own this facility that we've had in our family for, 14, 15 years. and she's running and operating it, but like she's not really treating it like a business. This is what he tells me flat out. And he said, we'd be interested in selling, but we know what we have. We know the land is valuable. The location's amazing. We want 2.1 million. And this gentleman was dead set on that price. And so knowing what I know that I learned in single family, I said, okay, great. Your price, my terms. Now, I didn't exactly tell him that way, but I was able to structure and buy this deal. He financed 90% of the purchase price. I got the 10% from a private lender that I paid 10% interest to.
Wow.
And here's the cool thing. 3.25 fixed interest rate for 5 years.
On the first?
What was that?
On the first that they're financing it to you for?
Yes, on the first, 3.25. Now, 0 debt service payments for an entire year.
You get
0 debt service payments. And then we amortized it over 35 years instead of in storage. Typically, you amortized over 20 or 25. So we maximize the cash flow. So this facility at its current occupancy, which is just about 67%, generates roughly almost $3,500 a month in net cash flow. Mm-hmm. And it is one of the easiest facilities to manage and operate. So these deals are out there, and I'm going to show you how you can jump on Google for free and find these deals literally within minutes. So these are all real people, real profits, real proof. Casey McKillop is somebody who I had the pleasure of working with earlier this year. His first deal got it in 91 days. Now, that is not typical. That's not an anomaly, or that is an anomaly, I would say. However, he was just committed. He did exactly what we show. And he did something we call driving for dollars, which I'm sure many of us have done for residential. He did the same exact thing for storage. He went driving on a hunting trip and he located this facility that kind of looked beat up and run down, contacted the owner and stole the deal, bought it for $200,000, and it's worth significantly more. Mm-hmm. And it was just hiding on plain sight in the main road there. So again, what was that, Chris?
That sounds sweet.
Yeah. Here's the second deal he bought in Christmas Valley, Oregon. Same exact thing, driving for dollars. The facility was sitting there. He literally called the owner off of this sign and negotiated a ridiculous seller finance deal, got into his second deal just 6 months later. And so these are normal, regular, everyday people. Actually, Casey owned one rental and ended up, he had one rental. That was one rental, and he rents his house.
What state is he in, by the way?
He's in Oregon.
Man, that is wow.
He's in Oregon. So this, by the way, this happened. He closed on this facility September of last year. And so let me walk you guys through the actual process here. I'm going to expand my screen a little bit so you can see this. So there's a lot of different ways to find these storage deals, right? Whatever you're likely doing for residential real estate will apply over here to storage. So here's the simple process. First, we want to focus on tertiary markets. Now, what does that mean? Think of small markets. When I talk about small, I'm not talking about like rural, like hundreds of people in a town. I'm talking about, think of cities that have a population between 5,000 people and 70,000 people. I like to focus, Chris, on markets where the average medium household income is $50,000 annual or greater. Okay. And then I like to see the population increasing. So I'm not, even though I live in Miami, I've never spent 1 minute looking for storage in Miami or any big metropolitan city. I'm looking for small tertiary markets. Now, why? Well, storage in the big cities is dominated by the REITs, the real estate investment trusts, like Public Storage, Extra Space. Yeah. We're not competing with those beautiful Class A facilities. And the REITs, they're too big to go into the small markets. So first of all, pick tertiary markets that have these three demographic factors. The next thing we do is going on Google Maps, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. We start building our list of these mom and pop storage owners, and they're so easy to spot. I'm going to share with you exactly how we spot these mom and pop owners. And then one of the ways that we get these deals, believe it or not, is we smile and dial. We pick up the phone and we call them, and we're able to connect most of the time with a lot of these storage owners that they run the business so mom and pop that oftentimes, Chris, they're the ones picking up the phone.
What?
So, it's not like you have to go through a process of skip tracing like we do in single family. I just call the number right on Google, and many times I'm speaking directly to the owner within minutes. So
Advertised. The number is right there.
Exactly right. Here's the process. So go to maps.google.com, maps.google.com, and then we want to look for storage facilities that either don't have a website or the website looks like it was built 20, 30 years ago. Now, Chris, just to give you guys some context and zoom out a little bit, 75% or more of our customers at our storage facilities come from online. That could be search engine optimization, SEO. That could be pay-per-click marketing. That could be the Google My Business listing. Imagine these mom and pop owners that don't even have a website. And 75% of our customers come online. So it's a big part of the business. And a lot of these people are just not managing and operating it like a business. So anytime I see a facility that has under 20 reviews or less than 4 stars, or whenever I go to the contact us page and I see at Gmail, at Yahoo, Yahoo, those are all clear indicators that it is a mom and pop operated facility.
Look at this. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right down the street. I didn't even know they were there.
Dude, and most people don't. They're hiding in plain sight. They're hiding in plain sight. So I know you'll talk about it, but we're going to go a lot deeper in terms of how to find these mom and pop operators on Google Maps. But this is just a simple. If you guys want to take a screenshot or a picture of this is a very simple process for free to identify. I mean, Chris spent less than a minute since I've been talking, and he already found 4 or 5.
That's crazy. I did not know that they were there. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this works any city, any state in the country. So this is an example, West Laco, Texas. I've never been there. I don't know anybody there. Well, if you go to Google Maps and you put in any city, state, like West Laco, Texas, what you want to do is click on the nearby button and then type in self-storage. And boom, you're going to have all the storage facilities that Google picks up right there in front of you. And then you sift and sort by the facilities that don't have a website, have bad reviews, outdated looking websites. Those are the mom and pop operators, Chris, and for everybody watching and listening, that we're targeting. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, and by the way, if you want, Chris, I can make this deck available to anybody that might want it.
Y'all let me know if anybody watching. Yeah, if y'all want the deck here, Alex will be happy to share it with you. That'd be a nice treat, buddy.
Awesome, man. Well, here it is. Right. So let me zoom in here because I know it might be a little small. So you see right here, you see how Move It Self-Storage, they have a website. You see this little circle here? And then this facility has a website. Look at Texas Boulevard. No website. And then they have only 2 reviews. So that is a perfect example of a mom and pop operator that I would pick up the phone and call. In fact, some of these mom and pop operators, Chris, don't even have a phone number on Google. I mean, they are running it as old school as you could possibly run it. Why is this important? This is what I call a low lift, easy value add facility. We have the ability to go in and with simple little tweaks and adjustments, we can significantly improve the operations of the business, which increases the overall value of the facility.
Now, Alex, the one that I had, I haven't been required to have one of these for many years, but I got to tell you, so I put this hot tub in there when I built my house, right? But I just happened to arbitrarily just drive by there like a year later, right? And I walked in the door, Alex, and they had sheetrocked the office and put a kiosk in I walked right in and I hit a button and I told her, nobody even worked there anymore, bro. It was like,
Chris, well, I'm going to take it a step further. I don't have any kiosk at my facilities. I also don't have any employees. Like, we have offices, but they're vacant. They're closed up. Nobody works in there. So we run what's called an unmanned model, an unmanned facility, meaning that everything is automated. When I say everything, I'm talking pretty much everything is automated. So if somebody wants to rent a unit, they scan a QR code, they visit our website, or they call the phone number, which goes to a call center. If somebody wants to sign their lease agreement, they do it digitally. So people rent units, they get text the gate code. There's a lock ready for them in their unit with instructions on how to use it. Most of the business is automated, which is one of the reasons when I say it provides for time freedom, I'm not kidding, man. So I don't have any employees.
What?
I could literally have a portfolio of 20 facilities and not need any employees.
Wow.
So,
yeah,
man.
Cool stuff. If this not cool stuff, y'all give Alex a thumbs up. I'm just learning this stuff while you're doing it here. Give Alex a shout out down there.
So yeah, man. Look, I just touched on one way, right? By picking up the phone, finding these mom and pop storage owners on Google Maps and calling. This was another case study. This came from a direct mail campaign. Now, sometimes, Chris, people come to me and they're like, hey, can you wholesale storage? And the answer is 1,000%. First of all, you can wholesale anything, right? Literally, you can wholesale anything. This is a perfect example. This came from a direct mail letter campaign. Actually, kind of a cool story. This was a couple years ago. I bought this facility. Well, I say bought. I wholesaled it. And this was September of 2023. I got a call from a lady, Chris, that said, hey, Alex, we've never spoken before, and you might not remember, but you sent me a letter over 2 years ago that I've been holding on to.
They kept it.
They kept it. She says, when I asked, I said, if you don't mind me asking, like, why did you keep the letter? She said, well, a couple of reasons. She said, number one, your letter really spoke to me. She says, every now and then I get some letters from people wanting to buy the facility, but yours was very personal. It spoke to me. And I knew that at some point in the near future, I was going to want to sell. So I decided to keep yours. Are you still interested? Well, I'll save you the long story, but I ended up giving her exactly what she was looking for. So I would love to tell you I'm a master negotiator. She was looking for $400,000. This is a 21,000 square foot facility. I already knew right out of the gate that $400,000 was a steal. Didn't negotiate with her, gave her exactly what she was looking for. Well, I had so much going on in my life at that time that I wasn't ready to take on another facility. I ended up finding a buyer and I wholesaled it for $150,000. So you see this number down here? $150,000 wire net. Put it under contract for $400,000. Now, unfortunately, the seller's attorney didn't allow me to assign the contract. So what I did was we created an LLC, and then on the day of closing, I sold 100% of my interest in the LLC to the new buyer.
I love it. Back door. Sometimes you gotta use a back door and stuff.
So
that's sweet.
Yeah, man. So now this facility is probably worth $9 to $950 today. He bought it for $550 a couple of years ago. So he's going to do very well with it. Seller got exactly what they were looking for. Now, when I looked back at my average wholesale fees when I was in single family, it's about 17, 18 grand a deal here in Miami.
That's pretty good though, man. That's
pretty decent. But dude, do the math. How many wholesale deals would I have had to have done in order to give me one storage deal?
Wow.
Right. And man, like, 150 grand for a lot of people, that can change your, like, that's more than a year's salary for a lot of people. Right. So even if you get into this business and in the course of marketing, Chris, if people come across facilities that don't fit what they're looking for, you can wholesale storage just like you can single family.
Got it.
Right. Casey McKillop, that guy that I mentioned earlier, this was a couple months ago. Bought his third storage facility, his third one in 11 months.
This dude's killing it.
He's killing it, dude. He's killing it. And you know how every single one of his deals, seller financing, and all of them have been driving for dollars. Driving for dollars. That's it. So here's a picture of his first one. There's Christmas Valley, what you saw. Here's a picture of his third one. Regular dude, no real estate experience. One rental property that he ended up selling because he got involved in storage. So when I tell you anybody can do this, trust me, anybody can do this. So that's one of the reasons we have a community that this is all we do, is so that we can go further together. Mario, this was literally less than a month ago. under contract on his first facility in Missouri. So Chris, brother, this is something that I'm so passionate about, man. Like, people can continue to do what they're doing with residential
Yeah.
and just make a few tweaks, and you can start generating leads on storage facilities. And exactly how people buy and sell and structure single family, you can do the same thing with storage. So, brother, I'll let you. I think I'm pretty much right on time here, and I definitely want to carve out some time for Q&A. But
y'all get some questions in.
do you want to talk about this? What we're going to be doing with this VIP experience?
Yeah, let's do it. So, round up, homies. Thank you guys for coming. I begged Alex. I've been dealing with Alex for months, right? We've been trying
man. We have, brother. We have. I'm glad we're finally here, man. We've been talking about this for a while.
Months, y'all. I tried to get him months ago, so he's here now. So he made it. Alex, obviously, we can't teach you everything about how to do self-storage. I'm intrigued. Alex, while you were talking, I'm sitting here looking at all these horrible reviews on this one down the street.
Yes, man. We got to talk.
Wow. So I'm intrigued. I hope my roundup homies are enjoying this. Put your questions in the chat. But Alex has got something special for you. It's 4th of July special, and it's for only those that are serious about taking action with this self-storage thing. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. Look, if you want to, Chris, if you have I think you have the link. If you want to drop it in the chat or however you want to.
It's right now. Right
below. Okay, it's already there. Okay, perfect. So look, guys, we're going to do a 3-hour immersive workshop. And when I say workshop, it's going to be a workshop, right? This was kind of just a talk where you sit back passively. This is going to be a workshop. So the Google Maps method that I talked about, that's just one of the things we're going to be doing live. Wow. Where I'm going to show you, and you're going to actually walk away from this 3-hour workshop actually generating leads, having the exact blueprint of the script. How do you need to have these conversations with the storage owners? What are the questions you need to ask? Using my quick deal analyzer, how are you able to come up with a value and an offer for these storage facilities? So we're going to go deep. I'm going to share with you my 4S cash flow framework, which is the script and the framework that you need to have when you connect with the storage owner. I'm going to give you that storage letter. So I bought 2 storage facilities off of letters, the Amelia Personal Storage and the $150,000 wholesale. The same exact letter I use, I'm going to give to you guys so you guys can swipe and deploy it. And there's a video that breaks down what makes that direct mail letter so effective. I'll give you my quick storage offer calculator. I think sometimes, Chris, people overcomplicate the process of analyzing a storage facility. I have a very simple online tool that you guys will get as a bonus if you're part of the VIP experience. I think it's super important, as with anything, that you have clarity about what does a deal look like for you, right? So I have a storage avatar buy box template, a process that I take people through to identify exactly what a storage deal looks like and what type of market you need to be looking for these. And then you're going to get access to a private storage Facebook group that I have for people that are in there sharing deals, asking questions, providing valuable resources. So, and then obviously we're going to do a lot of Q&A. We're going to go deep into your particular situation, and I'm going to show with you a blueprint that you can keep the focus on what you're currently doing, but you just make a few tweaks so that you can start generating these leads. And even if you don't want to run the operation yourself, I'll show you how you can send these leads to me, to coaching clients that I'm working with, and you can get paid for these opportunities.
That is so cool. So this is a 1-day workshop, y'all. I asked Alex to put this together. He doesn't even offer this stuff publicly. Nope. He's doing it just for my real estate roundup homies, y'all. I thought it was so important because, Alex, you're probably one of the only self-storage guys in that mastermind we're in, or are there other guys in there too? I don't even know.
I don't think so, man. I don't know anyone else in there that's in storage.
So you're the guy. It intrigued when I found out Alex was doing this. I'm like, man, this would be cool to share with my community to see if it's something that you guys might want to do. And I don't think, Alex, I'm at the point in my life where it doesn't have to be or for me anymore. You know, it's like I can do and.
That's right. And by the way, I'm glad that you said that, because I've touched on that a few times here in this talk, is that you don't need to shut down what you're doing, sell off parts of the business like I did, and devote yourself 100% to this. Knowing what I know now, I know with certainty Like Casey McKillop, that gentleman and his wife, they own a brewery in Roseburg, Oregon. That's their core business. 11 months later, they've acquired 3 storage facilities, all on creative finance, right? So you can continue to do what puts food on the table and what puts money in your bank account. And with literally part-time work, you can start adding these storage units to your portfolio. So yeah, don't think you need to shut down what you're doing in order to just focus on storage, because you don't.
So Alex is doing this one-day workshop. The link is in the video. It's right in the show notes right there, y'all. You've been on here before. You've seen where we have stuff. And the 4th of July special, early bird special, is open right now. Now, it will close after the holiday, but don't think about it. And we're only charging you a tank of gas to come to one of these things and to listen to Alex and hang out with guys that Alex, I'm to the point right now, like, I know what I spend on education. I know what I spend on networking. I have the honor to do that. So I like to pass that on to others that may not be able to actually travel and meet you and have dinner with you around the country. Yeah. And I'm so fortunate to be able to have met you and offer this stuff, man. So thank you for this, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on. I don't take, this lightly, to just share this opportunity with others. And so, yeah, man, look, I'm, for the first time now, because I've been focused on kind of sharing with you this message. I'm looking at all the comments. There's a lot of questions in here, man, which is great.
Yeah, let me get them. Yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna start at the top. I had one here. I'm gonna skip over how you find them, because you went over. You went over.
And by the way, that's just one of several ways to find these. But yeah,
I'm just $5. Here's a good one. James Francis, what's up, homie? What's the vacancy rate? Yeah. Vacancy factor rate. I guess he's just asking the vacancy rate, Alex.
So when we find these opportunities, I like to get up to 85, no more than 90% occupancy. So to answer James's question, you want a 10% vacancy, 10 to 15% vacancy rate. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, why don't you want a 0% vacancy rate? Well, whenever I come across these storage owners, Chris, and they're at north of 95% to 100% occupancy rate, and there's no vacancy, that tells me right out of the gate that they're not charging enough in rent.
Price is too low.
Their price is too low. They're leaving money on the table. So I always like to have some vacant units. So 85 to 90% occupancy is really what I strive for.
Got it. Okay. And I looked at some stats. I think the average rent on these things are 160 something bucks per unit or something like that.
It depends on the market, but yeah, that sounds about right. Anywhere between 50 and 350, depending on the market and depending on the size of the unit, of course.
Thank you for your comments, Matthew. Yep. Oh, automated people. Yeah. Great. Thanks, Alex. Ed Marcus Solutions. Alex, great content. I would love the slides. So we'll get my question. Do you usually acquire your financing, such as the SBA loan, before you submit offers to sellers? That's a good question.
Yeah, Marcus, really good question. No, I do not. I always send offers. In fact, I go through something called the LMAO method, and LMAO is not what you're thinking of. It's list building, having meaningful conversations, analyzing deals, and making offers. So we make offers, and once we get offers accepted, depending on the deal, I figure out the best way how to structure that deal. So the very first deal that I bought, when I made the offer on that, I didn't know that I was going to go with SBA financing. As I started to evaluate the options on how I was going to fund the deal, SBA just emerged as one of the best ways to do it based on the numbers of the deal, because I was able to get 85% financing. If you go to a small local bank, most of the time they're going to finance 70 to 75%, which means that you got to put 25 to 30% down. With SBA, because remember, I didn't have money, I only had to put 15% down. Now, in my case, I still didn't have the 15%, which is why I found somebody that did have the money, and I gave him a piece of the deal.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's some pretty masterful way you did that partnership or joint venture, I would say. It's just a typical, that's done in multifamily and in single family. It's not
exactly like it's
much different, right?
That's right.
That's cool. What we got here? Will the workshop go into $5 fancy with Christina? That's a lot. $5 fancy with Christina.
Hey, Christina. By the way, I love the way that her name is spelled. I've never seen it like that. That's pretty
I
cool.
like that too. My
I
daughter.
like that. So absolutely. Yeah. We're going to talk about the different ways that you can structure these from seller
Read the
finance.
question, Alex, because people are going to listen. They won't know.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't know what the
And I'm
question
sorry,
is.
man. You're a pro at this. I'm sorry. So Christina's question: will the workshop go into detail about the funding you were discussing earlier? Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the different ways that you can structure this from seller financing, SBA, traditional bank financing, private lenders, equity partners. I mean, there are so many ways to get involved in these deals. And here's the cool thing, Chris, that I didn't even talk about earlier because the pie in storage is a lot bigger than it is in single family. You don't have to wear all the hats to all the parts of the deal in order to do the deal. Like as an example, if Christina, let's say Christina is very well networked and
Mhm.
she just has a lot of people and a lot of people know Christina. Christina can get equity in a storage deal by being the connector and connecting somebody that has money to me, a storage operator, and she can actually carve out a piece of the deal just by being the connector or by
Mm.
raising capital or by finding these deals. So you could literally bird dog storage deals for people like me and carve out equity in these deals. So the pie's big enough, Chris, that a lot of people can eat from it. You don't have to wear all the hats and be the one to find it, fund it, manage it. I like to do it that way, but you don't have to.
We don't have to. That's a good question. She said, "What's the difference between the general admin ticket and the VIP?" It should be right there in the link. It's all written out. Certain
Yep.
perks you get, a whole bunch of stuff you get extra for the VIP ticket. Plus, if you want to get the recordings and learn all of what Alex is doing for probably a couple Starbucks of coffee, that's in the sales page as well. Alex, it has been cool. Self storage. I don't think people can even comprehend where you came from because I'm still full time, like flipping and doing rentals, and I'm just I'm imagining myself segueing out of that, and I'm leaving so much behind mentally. Could you just tell us about that very quickly? Tell us about that transformation because you were doing. I mean, you had a wholesale business. You were doing 6 to 7 figures doing
Yeah,
wholesale deals.
we did. We had 6-figure months, pretty regularly. We were doing a lot of deals. We were making a lot of money. But at the end of the day, Chris, like, you asked me about the transformation. It wasn't because like I'm super smart or special or anything, man. I asked myself one important question. I said, I was 14 years into the journey at that point. I said, if I'm still wholesaling houses and trying to buy some rental properties, if I'm still doing that a year from now, how do I feel? And the feeling, like if you've ever worked for somebody or maybe you work in corporate America or you work in a job you don't like, how Sunday evening you kind of get that feeling in your stomach because Monday morning is coming up and like you got to go to the
Mm,
job you don't like. Well, when I was in corporate America, coming out of college, that's how I felt. This was a worse feeling because it was a business I had built and created. And I'm
it
like,
was what?
brother, I'm like, something's off here. Like I'm tired of chasing these deals and the income roller coaster. I got to a point where I was carrying $40,000 to $45,000 a month in overhead,
Overhead
which I pretty much had to close 2 to 3 deals a month
just to
just to
pay for
break
that.
even, just to pay for that, just to feed
It's
the machine. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. And I had living proof in front of me because I happened to be coaching somebody who owned the facility. Here I am coaching somebody, and I'm like, this guy's doing it a much better way than I am. And so for me, I just regret is one of the worst things I think you can live with. And I was like, what's the worst that can happen? Like if I just commit
don't
myself
buy
to it,
anything.
yeah, I don't buy anything. I can always go back to wholesaling deals and buying some rentals.
Mhm.
But brother, I'm glad I made the shift. I really am. What I didn't know is that I probably could have kept my wholesale business and started doing
Killed it.
storage. I just didn't know that at the time. So I just burned the
Alex,
ships.
I've got Steven. What's going on, Steven? Thanks so much for hanging out with us from the Bronx. What up, homie? Thank you so much. Hit that smash that. Y'all share this link too with other people that you think that will be able to benefit from self-storage. Alex, I have an analogy that I say I don't want to be I call it being the old man in the club. Have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard in a minute, but yeah, I have.
I remember when I was younger, I would see these old guys going to look at houses. And I'm like, dude, I do not. I immediately went to
Yeah.
the old man in the club with the cane and the walker in the club. I'm like, dude, I don't want to have a cane and a walker going to look at a house.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to be that
You know what
guy.
my version of that was when I was in a fraternity in college. I'll share a super funny story. I was in a fraternity in college, and there was like a handful of dudes that had graduated and gotten their degree like years ago, and they were still coming to
It's
the
still
fraternity parties. And I would I would totally judge them. And looking back, I probably shouldn't have. But I'm thinking to myself like, dude, if I'm still coming to
what?
fraternity parties when I'm 30 years old, I'm like something went
No.
terribly wrong. Right? It's kind of the same thing, right? But
Same
look,
thing.
to each their own. There's some people that love single family, and I'm not here. I don't want to bash single family. Single family like was an amazing business for me.
Mhm.
I feel like I found the better path, and this is
No
something
doubt.
that others can do as well. So
No
if you're
doubt.
just tired of grinding, if you have that feeling of burnout, even if you don't, this is such a great
Man,
way to generate cash flow and build wealth.
that's right. Y'all don't think about it as an or. I'm almost 50 now. I'm like, I'm looking at all the ands. I'm looking
Yeah,
at all the ands I can look at because I don't want to be the guy. It's so cool. I'm glad you did those partnerships because you do not have to do this on your own, and you don't have to
right.
have the whole Alex. What I like to say is Alex looking at he's taking a smaller piece of a much bigger pie. Do you know your one piece of the pie can be bigger than the entire pie that you were doing in something else? I
That's
found
right.
that out.
That's
You
right.
just get one slice, and it's bigger than what you was doing.
That's right. And by the
So,
way, I don't have to do 5, 7, 8 deals a month. I look for 2, 3 good deals a year, and that's it,
oh
man.
man, that is wow.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so the link is below, guys. The July special is on right now. Early bird special. It will go away. You'll be able to hang out with Alex for several hours and for 1 day workshop with him, and it's going to be it's going to be the following week. And we look forward to seeing you. Alex, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thank you, Chris. Have a great one, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Happy holiday, guys. Get signed up. Don't think about it. Take action and join the class. See you soon. Peace.